The night God changed a destiny. The fire has burned low, leaving only embers breathing in the dark. A man stands alone, eyes lifted toward a sky crowded with stars he cannot count. The night air is still, too still. And somewhere in that silence, a voice speaks a future he has never lived. Abram listens, not with certainty, but with fear, wonder, and a weight settling into his chest. Look toward heaven, the voice says. Number the stars, if you are able to number them. Abram tries. His eyes trace light after light, generation after generation written across the sky. And then the words arrive. Quiet, impossible, unescapable. So shall your offspring be. The night does not explode with music. The ground does not shake, but everything has changed. Because nothing about Abram's life supports what he has just heard. He has no son. His body is aging. His wife's womb has been silent for decades. The promise hangs in the air, daring him to believe it. This is the night God changes a destiny. The Bible does not describe Abram shouting or celebrating. Scripture simply says, "He believed the Lord, and he counted it to him as righteousness." Belief happens quietly. Before we go further, pause with Abram here. If this story resonates, if you've ever stood between a promise and its impossibility, like the video, share it with someone who may be waiting in the dark, and subscribe to Bible Story Vault for more cinematic journeys through Scripture. The promise has been spoken, but the night does not end. Years pass. Morning after morning, Abram wakes to the same landscape. The same tent flaps rustling in the wind. The same body growing slower, heavier. Sarai's eyes still carry longing, still carry pain. The stars remain distant witnesses. God has spoken, but God is silent now, and silence stretches faith. Abram moves through life carrying a word that refuses to expire. Every child he sees becomes a question. Every passing year sharpens the tension. Faith is no longer an idea, it is endurance. Then, one night, God speaks again. This time, not with stars, but with blood. Animals are brought, cut in two, laid opposite one another. The ancient sign of covenant fills the air with the scent of death. Abram knows this ritual. Two parties walk between the pieces, pledging their lives to the promise. But Abram does not walk. Darkness falls. A deep, terrifying sleep overtakes him. And in the night, a smoking fire pot and a blazing torch, symbols of God's presence, pass alone between the pieces. God binds himself to the promise. Unconditionally, Abram wakes knowing something has shifted again. The future is still distant, but now it is sealed. And yet, the waiting continues. Sarai grows older. Hope thins. Faith strains under years of unanswered prayer. Eventually, impatience enters the story. A decision is made that Scripture does not praise, but records honestly. Hagar conceives. Ishmael is born. Life moves forward, but not toward the promise. 13 years pass without a word from heaven. 13 years of silence. Then, at 99 years old, Abram hears God speak again. This time, the voice does not repeat the promise. It reshapes identity. No longer shall your name be Abram, God says, but Abraham, for I have made you the father of a multitude. The name changes before the circumstances do. Sarai becomes Sarah. The future is spoken into the present like a verdict that reality has not yet learned to obey. And then comes the laughter. Sarah laughs not from joy, but disbelief. A laugh born from years of disappointment and biological finality. God does not rebuke her harshly. He simply asks, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" The question echoes through generations. The impossible arrives quietly. Isaac is born. Laughter returns, but this time redeemed. The child becomes living proof that God's timing does not apologize to human logic. Every wrinkle in Abraham's face now testifies to patience, learned the hard way. But the story does not settle, because Scripture does not let the promise rest comfortably. One night years later, God speaks again. "Take your son," he says, "your only son, whom you love, and offer him." The words fall like stones. This is not the night of stars. This is not the night of covenant fire. This is a night of obedience without explanation. Abraham does not argue. He does not ask for clarification. He rises early. The journey to Moriah is quiet, painfully quiet. Isaac walks beside him, carrying the wood. The weight is both literal and symbolic. At some point, the boy asks the question that splits the silence open. "Father, where is the lamb?" Abraham answers with words forged from years of waiting. "God will provide. The mountain waits. The altar is built. The knife is lifted." And then finally the silence breaks. "Abraham, Abraham," the voice stops everything. A ram is caught in the thicket. Blood is spilled, but not Isaac's. The promise lives. The future breathes. And God speaks words heavier than the stars themselves. "Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld your son." This is not discovery for God. It is revelation for Abraham. The night God changed a destiny was not only about descendants. It was about trust formed in silence. Scripture does not tell us what Abraham felt walking down the mountain, but we know what he knew. The promise had survived doubt. It had survived delay. It had survived his own failures. And it had survived obedience that felt unbearable. Destiny was not changed in a moment. It was shaped across nights of waiting, silence, obedience, and faith that learned to breathe without answers. The Bible never portrays faith as certainty. It portrays it as movement. Abraham's life teaches us that God often speaks the future before we are ready to live in it. That silence is not abandonment, but formation. That identity can change long before circumstances do. And that sometimes the most important nights are not when God speaks loudly, but when He watches to see if we will trust Him quietly. The stars still shine, the promise still echoes, and the night God changed a destiny continues to speak into every life, waiting between what God has said and what has not yet come to pass. If you want to keep walking through Scripture this way, slowly, reverently, cinematically, subscribe to Bible Story Vault, where ancient nights still whisper truth and destinies are rediscovered in the dark.